Welcome back to the Pit to Podium Podcast. Today, I'm your host, Sam Nichols, and I'm joined with
Mark Altman.
Now, today is a little bit of a special episode. We are getting into how do you get into motorsport in general. Now, normally we have Andrew hosting our podcast today, but he is not here because today is a special episode. We have a new host, and his name is Trey Stire. Trey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. Awesome to be here.
Yeah. Well, first off, how did you get your start into motorsport? Was there any specific motorsport that you got into first, and like how did that expand?
Tell us about your journey.
All right. Well, pretty much since day one, NASCAR has been my thing. My dad was a big Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Earnhardt before that fan, and NASCAR has been something I've watched ever since I can remember. I mean, honestly, some of my earliest memories are watching NASCAR races, and gradually through the years, I just started to find other motorsports, and I've always really enjoyed racing in vehicles, and it's just progressed.
Awesome. And yeah, so like you mentioned NASCAR, but like what are some of the other motorsports you maybe follow in this, like maybe?
Because you are a Formula One fan, correct?
Yes. Correct. Yes, I started watching F1 in 2018, and I'll probably talk about getting into that a little bit later.
He's got me beat by a couple of years.
But my other main one is motocross. I've been covering the sport for the last year and a half or so. I got into it a while ago. It was just kind of by happenstance. I used to always watch the Speed Channel. That's where NASCAR coverage used to be a lot of the time. And I saw dirt bikes racing one night and saw this one dude, James Stewart is who it was, flying around. I'm like, man, this looks really cool. Between that and playing the MX versus ATV games, that kind of built my foundation. And June 2023, after attending High Point, I started writing articles. I've been a part of Imperative MX and We Went Fast, and also doing stuff on my own, and I've loved the sport for several years, and to be able to cover it and to share some of the stories, especially of the privateer and underdog riders like I like to share, it's been an honor.
I mean, that's honestly amazing. It's a very interesting sport, but like for the people that maybe don't know what motocross is or like supercross or any of those sort of ones, can you explain like sort of the concept and just like kind of explain the sport to us?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit different, obviously, from like NASCAR and Formula One for sure.
So to start out, this might be a little confusing for some people. There are technically 3 seasons within one. You start out with Supercross. It starts in early January. These are purpose-built tracks inside, say, baseball, football stadiums like Angel Stadium in Anaheim, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. You have obstacles like rhythm lanes, which is a bunch of jumps back to back to back. You have big triple jumps. It is a tighter, like maybe 1 minute lap time course, but it is built in a stadium. Motocross is during the summertime, usually in America, and it is purpose-built outdoor tracks. High Point Raceway, which is in Mount Morris, 5 minutes north of here. It is a purpose-built on-the-land track, and you have these tracks. They race 11 nationals throughout the summer, and now, something very recent, they have 3 hybrid playoff races at the end of the year. They combined them so that's the Super Motocross World Championship. But you have hybrid style courses, so they will take some of the speed and the technical ability of motocross, but they will also put in like whoops and rhythm lanes from Supercross, combine them together, and the winner of the Premier Class gets $1 million at the end of it, which is pretty sweet in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you seen anything?
Okay, so I have seen a couple races at the 2022 season. My friend invited me over to watch it. Those guys are crazy because if they hit those jumps wrong, they hit badly.
Oh, yes. There is a lot of risk, I feel like, in motocross, especially compared to some sports. Yeah. I mean, all motorsports are a risk, but when you hit a rut wrong, you could go sideways, go launching off the course. If you mistime your jumps, you could case the rhythm and go flying off the bike. And not only that, but the wear and tear. I mean, these guys are throwing around a 200-pound motorcycle for 20, 30 minutes at a time and going balls to the wall fast. So they have to balance that technique and that speed while also hanging on. And those guys are really fit and really adapt to the strength and the technique it takes.
You look at like sports like F1 or like NASCAR and stuff like that where they're enclosed in a like sort of capsule or like a
cockpit.
Yeah. Like with this, they're out in the open.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like,
for sure.
Does the danger of the sport add a little bit to the watchability where it's like, oh my God, these guys are even crazier because they don't have that much protection?
Elbow, knee
I
to knee.
I personally think so. I just got into the sport because I was like 6 years old and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. But the danger is definitely something. I mean, you have, say, 40 guys going into one turn at the start of a motocross race and then flying over all the jumps. It's insane.
So let me ask you a question, because you got into this when you were 6 years old. And then you said you didn't watch Formula One until 2018. So how did you get into the Formula One world? Tell me your journey.
Yeah. Well, my motocross foundation started at like 6, but it wasn't really until I was about 10 or so that I started watching full time. But F1, I remember when I was a youngin', I used to always go to the local flea market every Saturday and go to my grandma's house afterwards. And I would always turn on the TV and try to find some kind of racing. And sometimes F1 qualifying would be on, and I had no idea what was going on as a little kid. But I knew there was a Red Bull team, and Red Bull used to have a NASCAR team as well back in the day. They had a few wins. And that was like, oh, cool, there's Red Bull cars here. So that gave me something to have a little bit of interest in. And I had thought about getting into F1 sooner, but I didn't know where to find it. And then going into 2018 is when they signed the ESPN TV deal, and I heard about it, and I thought to myself, I was like, this could be a perfect time for me to get into it, an easy network to find. So I watched the first couple races, and I was like, okay, this isn't bad. And then it started going on, and I was like, man, I like this. And that was around a time where it wasn't just F1. I started getting into IndyCar, IMSA. I was starting to try out everything to see if I liked it, and I did pretty much.
Mark, let me ask you for real quick, because I think you're the oldest Formula One fan in this room, actually, right? You've watched it.
Only by a little bit. I'm like 2017, 2018. So it's like Trey is right there with me and everything. Gotcha. So he definitely is right there.
My journey was the Netflix Drive to Survive series. I watched season 1. Did you? I'm assuming you guys saw it, right?
Yeah.
I thought this thing was really, really cool. Season 2 was the season that after I watched it, I watched the actual event.
The actual racing.
Yeah, the actual racing, which to me, I think this really transitions into how do we get into these new motorsports? Because Netflix provided this avenue of getting you direct access to the teams, giving you direct access to the drivers in a situation that they're not really, used to. And I got all this background information before I even saw my first race. So how do you guys, how would you guys introduce new fans to this motorsport series that we all love?
I mean, Drive to Survive definitely helped me. I know that for sure. I watched a little bit of NASCAR before, but it wasn't something that interests me as much. But now after watching F1, I've gotten into it a little bit more. And it's just, I think the big thing when it comes to anything is just watch it and see what you like about it. If you don't like it, drop it. Don't give it a chance. But if there's things that are interesting you, just go for it. You'll get the best results out of it. And I know my journey of watching motorsports is a little different from everyone, but I've gotten into the endurance racing because of it. I really like the 24-hour Le Mans, but I also really like Formula One, like I said, and NASCAR. I started to watch more, and what's the LA race inside the
Clash at the Coliseum?
The Clash at the Coliseum is such a fun race, even though they're going around a quarter-mile circle, which doesn't work out very well. The lane's really tight, but it's just so tight action and everything like that. I think it's just find the things you like about motorsport. Just really get into it. I know I'm a little bit different from everyone else, but Trey, if you had to say, what would you say to someone let's go hop into motorsport, or this is the reason you should watch motorsport?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with several of your points. I think you need to have a balance of being willing to learn something new, but also trying to find, there are so many different racing series with different formats. You look at F1 and NASCAR, the formats are completely different. But if you have somebody willing to learn and to be able to sit down and talk to them about, okay, this is how the sport works or whatever, building that background information a little bit at a time is important, I think. If you just go in cold turkey, it might be too overwhelming for somebody.
I have a great story for that. I came home in during the spring.
Yeah.
And it was the 2024 Jeddah race. So second or third on the calendar. And my mom's like, hey, you coming in this week? And I was like, yes, I am, but I am definitely watching this race. And she watched the Jeddah race with me. She's never seen a race at all. And about halfway through, she goes, I could get into this. And I think what makes motorsport kind of interesting is that everybody understands you want to be first. Mm-hmm. You kind of get that. Who's first, who's second, who's third. Going off that energy from my mom, who's never seen a sport in her life. Whereas I feel like if she was to watch football or, soccer, to know the intricate rules, okay, you get into the field zone, you kick it here, though. But I think everybody just kind of understands you want to get first. That's the prize point. And I really, really go off with what you said, Trey. You kind of want to have a friend to explain it to you.
Yes,
to sit down and show you this is what's going on,
Yeah.
you know? Because when I told my mom, I'm like, oh, this guy's winning unless there's a safety car, you know? She's like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, they all bunch up, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so I think that's a very important detail, is you kind of need an avenue in, whether that's through Netflix or a documentary-like series, or a really good friend to like sit you down and be like, hey, watch this. This is really cool.
And yeah, and like I've had a similar situation. I showed my little brother the Vegas Grand Prix, which, I mean, it was pretty late, but like my dad watched the beginning of it too. It was like, I definitely will agree. It's like just having someone that is like normally into watching that stuff and just really gets you into it, because if someone's really into it, they're showing something to you because they're very passionate about it. And if you can see their passion, then maybe you can be like, oh, let me find something similar. So I think honestly, we should just like find a way to get people to find their passion and everything like that. It just all depends, you know?
That's kind of how I am, honestly. I know helping my cousin a little bit get into motocross, because once he found out that I was working with We Went Fast during the summer, he was like, man, I want to try to get into this more. So I'm like, all right. So I invited him up to my house. We watched it. I've sent him some highlights. I mean, he's not into it all the way, but he's got more of a foundation. He knows more of what's going on. And I agree with what Mark says, again, between any sort of passions, whether it's sports or music, I love to share that with people. And if I can help get them into something new, then I feel like I'm succeeding.
There's one thing that you touched on earlier, Trey, that I thought was really good. You mentioned how it was on the ESPN network. They picked it up on ESPN. It's there. I think that's actually really influential for Formula One for access. I'm a new football fan. I'm in the sport and adventure media program. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. To watch football, do you know how much money that takes? You know, what channel are they on? Who's the broadcast for this one? Is it on Peacock? Is it on Amazon? Is it on YouTube? You know, and the fact that, like, I think specifically for Formula One, it's so easy to access. I spend $15 a month for my specific subscription. And I think that's actually a little bit nice about these motorsport series, is that they're all contained usually by one network, which is really helpful for a new fan. Because I tell you what, that's a big hurdle for football for me. It's just to watch the games.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because like especially now with Sky Sports and a lot of different groups owning all the different racing series, you got F1, you have MotoGP, whatever the high-speed motorcycles are.
I believe so, yeah. They have the Porsche series as well.
And like IndyCar is even sometimes on ESPN, and if you get that with like the bundle of Hulu and Disney Plus and everything, you're spending like $10 or $15 a month, and you can watch all those races, and on top of it, be able to have like the Hulu channels and all these different things. And it's like you kind of feel encouraged to watch more sports or watch more things and just kind of get the chance to be able to get into the sports, you know?
Well, guys, do you have anything else that you'd like to say for this episode?
No, man, I think it was a great introduction, and hopefully we can get some more people into the motorsports world.
100%.
Personally, I would like to say thank you for joining us, Trey. I mean, having your insight into a different world and all these different motor sports and everything, it's definitely a great insight, and I'm excited to have you on the show a lot more often, you know?
I know who I'm texting when I have a supercross or a motocross question.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep,
sure.
I'm here to help. Thank you guys for having me once again. It was a pleasure.
Yes, we'll make sure to have you on in the future.
Yep.
For more segments. We want to get
Sounds
into
good.
more motorsports. I love it.
This has been the Pit to Podium podcast. You can find this podcast anywhere you find your normal podcast or the U92 website. But this has been Pit to Podium here on U92 The Moose.